All right, I'm going to try and help you with the spinal cord stuff. This is about the 5th time I've done this and having technical issues. All right, let's just talk about a spinal cord, shall we? Here's my cord. I'm going to have some receptor coming in here into the dorsal horns. Not a very good spinal cord. That's okay. All right, so the dorsal root ganglion's here. He's going to be my first order neuron. This must be sensory. And this is afferent, telling me that information is traveling towards the central nervous system. The ventral roots are motor. They are efferent, all right, meaning that they're coming out of the central nervous system, heading towards the periphery. Right? These two guys, the two roots are going to join up and form the nerve itself. So the nerve is a combination of both sensory and motor stuff. All right. Here's the way I do this. I could do sensory, afferent, motor, efferent, and spell same. Or I could do it the other way. M-E-S-A spells mesa. That helps me remember which one's sensory and afferent. I also could do this to help me remember SPA-me, meaning sensory is on the posterior and it's afferent heading in and the other's motor coming out. Here's the deal. This is the anterior horn. Anterior horn is motor. This part, the gray portion of the cord, is where the motor neurons are. These are all neurons. The white portion is all the axons that are the funiculi heading up the cord to the brain, all right? I'm going to draw this little central canal since I see it sitting there. This is where the ependymal cells line the cord and secrete cerebrospinal fluid, all right? There's a lateral horn right here, all right? This is the IML. This is part of this autonomic nervous system, specifically the sympathetic division. We'll get to that next week. These are the posterior horns. It is sensory. So the gray portion, these are called horns. These portion, the white portion, are called columns or funiculi. So this whole thing is the anterior column. This is the lateral column. This is the posterior column. These are the posterior horns, the lateral horns, and the anterior horns. So that's just the difference in the nomenclature. When we get up here in the posterior columns, you know that the posterior columns have a division like this. They have different tracks depending upon if things are coming from the legs. They're going to be coming up fasciculus gracilis, and if they're coming from the arms, it's going to be fasciculus cuneatus. And that's the topographical, spinotopical representation of the body in the cord itself. Same thing is going to happen. Well, yeah, same thing is going to happen. So I'm going to do this as arms and legs. Same thing happens down here in the motor division. Motor output is going to be legs more medial and arms more lateral. Okay, so just more somatotopic organization. There's a big funicular or a big sulcus right here with the anterior spinal artery sitting there, posterior spinal artery sitting there. Anterior white commissure is right here. Anterior gray commissure is here. Posterior gray commissure here. The one that I'm really interested in is this one, of course, the anterior white commissure, because that's where the lateral spinal thalamic goes. One more time. Anterior columns, lateral columns, posterior columns. Anterior horn, lateral horn, posterior horn. and then the divisions between fasciculus cuneatus and gracilis, arms, legs. Okay, this is sensory, this is motor, this is going to be autonomic division. The ependymal cells lining the central canal. Here is a posterior rami. It must be sensory and it must be afferent. This is motor coming out the front. It must be efferent. It must be motor. This is motor. This is sensory. Okay. That should cover the cord. The part where you guys get kind of confundido is the different tracks. I'm going to try and draw them out real fast for you. All right, so here comes information coming in. It immediately goes here to the posterior columns, goes up. It is going to synapse with the second order neuron in the medulla. All of these cross over after the synapse with a second order neuron. It crosses here in the medulla, goes up to the thalamus, to the VPL is the third order neuron. Synapses with that guy. Now it's going to go to the brain. Where is it going to go? Post central gyrus, the primary somatosensory cortex, Brodmann's 3A, 3B, 1, and 2. Okay, so there it is. Now, this being my right, this being my left. How do I know? Well, because the posterior horn is there, this pretty well has to be the back, so this has to be the patient's right. So here's the patient's right. Comes in, goes up the right side, and now decussates up here in the brain stem. So I just went from, let's say, my big toe all the way up the spinal cord and didn't cross until I got up inside the skull and the brain stem. If there's a lesion here, what side is the loss on? Well, the loss would be on the right side. This information came from the right side and got stuck here with the lesion. The receptors here is going to be what? Joint mechanoreceptors, Golgi tendon organs, and muscle spindle cells. Okay? That's for proprioception, these three. These are your proprioceptors. There's a couple of others, right? Meissner's, Pacinian, laminated corpuscles. These are the guys who are going to do fine touch and vibration. Okay, so here it comes, and on the same side. My point being what I've always told you, the posterior columns are always ipsilateral. What that means is, if the lesion is on the right, the loss of sensation is on the right. If the loss of sensation is on the right, the lesion is in the cord somewhere on the right. So same side, ipsilateral, same side. All right? You can review this a few times. It's good to have it, kind of really good under your belt before we do the other one, which I'm going to do right now. So now we'll do the other one. So same thing. Here's my cord. No, that wasn't a very good cord. Let's start over. All right, here's my cord. Still not a very good cord, but let's just move on. All right, so here comes my information. It's incoming. He synapses with a second order neuron here in the cord where he came in. I know that all tracks are going to decussate after they synapse with a second order neuron, and I just did. That means this guy is going to cross now in the cord at the level he came in at, going to cross an anterior white commissure, go over here where the lateral spinal thalamic is, and this bundle of axons is going to go up the cord on the other side, right? So everything here is the same. So this being my left, this being my right, I have a lesion here. The lesion's on the left, but the information came from the right. That is going to be what we call contra, meaning opposite, like a contrarian, like Iran contra. All right, so here we go. information came from the right, it crossed over in the cord down low. And now it's coming up on the other side, but it can't. Okay. That's it. Everything else is the same. It doesn't do anything in the medulla. It just passes through, but it is going to go to the third order neuron in the thalamus, just like usual. And then it's going to go on to the same place that everything else goes to in the brain, or at least the sensory tracts, right? Postcentral gyrus. All right, so that's that one. Now I should have just used that. All right, so here we go. I'm going to try and double them up. All right, so I'm going to do it like this. Let's make it red. Oops. All right, that's not worth messing with. All right, pretend you can't even see this. You can't see that. Now what I'm going to do is put a tumor here. Oh dear, there's a tumor. What did I just lose that we are talking about, that we care about? What happened to the DCML? If the lesion's here, let's call this left again, we'll call this right again. If the lesion's here, without even knowing what these are, I know that I just lost proprioception from my left side, and I just lost pain from my right side. One of these is pain, one of these is proprioception. But I know that pain is contralateral and proprioception is ipsilateral. Therefore, I lost proprioception on my left because the lesion's on my left, and so pain must be coming from the right, which it is. So if I do the exact same thing and give myself another lesion on the other side, what just happened? What did I lose? Same thing. Without even knowing, I know that I lost proprioception, ipsi, and I lost the lateral spinal thalamic. I lost pain and temperature, contra. Okay, so this carries pain, so I know that's what it is. Free nerve endings are going to generate pain on type C fibers, small unmyelinated fibers. So here it comes. I don't even know which one's red and which one's black. And it doesn't matter because I know what I lost is proprioception and light touch ipsilateral, and I lost pain contralateral. So don't worry about all what's happening in the cord. I think it just messes you up. If you can just remember this, it'll all work out. Okay. All right, so the last one from the cortex itself, lateral coracospinal, is going to be from the which gyrus? Precentral gyrus, Commons area number 4. Okay, so here it comes, and it's coming down. It gets to the medulla again. And what? Most of it crosses over. So 85% crosses over in the pyramids. Okay, and a little bit, 15% goes on down is the anterior coracospinal. Okay, but they're all going to meet up here. Where would you think they're going to meet up? Here's my cord, and I'm going to just draw the gray matter. Where is it going to go? Well, this is a motor tract, so it's going to go to the alpha motor neurons that are here in the anterior horn, because this is the motor section. It's going to synapse with it and send out the ventral roots, because this is motor. It's on the way to the periphery, to some of what we call effectors. The effectors are muscles or glands or something, whatever's happening out there. Okay, so receptors are incoming and effectors are outgoing. So this is sensory and this is motor. Okay, one more time. From the pre-central gyrus, it's going to come out, it's going to descend, and now in the medulla, it's going to decussate in the pyramids. Okay, pyramids are these big bumps that sit on the outside of the spinal cord. Comes down, well, it actually is over here, but don't worry about that. It's over here, and it's going to come into here and do the same thing. Synapse with the alpha motor neurons here, and go out the ventral root and go to where it's going, the effectors. All right, so that was kind of easy. But because of this 15%, what's going to happen is this guy's going to come in and he's going to go to the same place and do that. If this guy's wiped out, this guy's still carrying 15%. Because of this 15%, you're going to have a spastic paralysis. Why? Because 15% is enough to give you a little bit of something, but not enough to have a, strength. All right. If it was completely cut, if I cut the cord, you're totally paralyzed. Neither one of these guys is going to get where it's going. Okay. All right. So I'm hoping that is enough to get you where you want to go. All right. So let's just hope. Now, how do I stop the recording?